What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NFL Turf Talk. We are live this morning on DSM Media's YouTube or DSM Media's NFL Turf Talk YouTube channel and DSM Media's Twitter channel. So used to saying the Philadelphia channel from the morning show and the pregame show, Scotty. But guys, do yourself a favor. Do us a favor. If you want to be interactive throughout today's show, if you're watching on YouTube, or on Twitter, we cannot see your comments through StreamYard. So make sure to check out the YouTube channel specifically. It is the best and only spot to get your comments and questions pulled up here on the screen with your host. I'm one half of them this morning, Dylan Davis. To my right, my co-host, Scotty. This is the week 1 preview, full Sunday slate. First of the year. As an Eagles fan, man, this feels good, Scotty, because it's always nice to get your game out of the way, or maybe be the Monday night game or Sunday night game and have all day to just kick back, relax, focus on your bets, focus on your fantasy team, eat some food, whatever you got to do for the next 10 hours. Obviously, the Eagles go down to Brazil and get the win over the Packers in a very exciting and high-scoring ball game there. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow morning on the morning show. But we got a full slate to get into, guys. On this show, we are going to go game by game, give our predictions. We're going to give our best bets. We put together each a 5-leg player prop parlay for touchdown scores today. Tail at your own risk. But we'll see if we can bring you guys home some more money today. We've been on a hot streak across all sports, NFL, college football, and MLB over the last couple of weeks. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow. Scotty, my man, what is going on?
Good morning, man. I'm feeling great. Obviously, NFL Week 1, it gets you real excited in a real special way. I'm not going to get too vulgar on here, Dylan. I got way too vulgar on here. I think it was Thursday night. I was really eager for some NFL football, but I'm feeling good on this holy day, man. Get this NFL season really started, really kicked off the right way. And we have some really interesting matchups. Like, a lot of these games, I think, are going to end up close. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe they don't end up close. I just don't know exactly how they're going to end up. I have an idea of how I feel some of these games are going to end up, but there are a few toss-up matchups to start the season. I think that's natural because we don't know who some of these teams are just yet. So I'm excited to get into it with you, my man. And I know that beginning part for you was a little confusing too, because we have the Turf Talk showing on the DSM Media Twitter account, but also on the Turf Talk.
It's the blue logo as well, because we had the blue logo on the Philadelphia YouTube channel, and we obviously have the same one on Twitter. So I'm just so used to saying it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But nonetheless, guys, subscribe to all the channels. We also have a Scotty Talks NBA YouTube channel that'll be starting again very, very shortly, man, as the NBA season obviously quickly approaches over the next month or so as well. But tap in, subscribe, like the video, whatever you got to do, share it with your friends, your family. And let's get into it, man. Let's look at the Sunday slate. And it starts with a very intriguing game that if you went back to a year ago, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, at least on one side of the field, we would not have been too happy with this ball game. We would have been looking at possibly a rout. However, you get Mike Tomlin and the Steelers heading to Atlanta to take on the newly led Kirk Cousins Falcons. And this is an interesting matchup, man. 2 new quarterbacks, whatever way it goes. I do believe Justin Fields is going to get the nod today with Russell Wilson's injury that popped up around Thursday or so. I believe, what was it, calf tightness or hamstring tightness, something like that. So Justin Fields looking to get the start today probably versus Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson and company. And it's going to be an interesting game, man, because both sides of the ball are going to rely on their defense. And I know everyone's super excited to see Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London with a quarterback that can actually spread the ball around and push the ball downfield. But this Falcons defense is what they're going to be led by. Obviously, when you have a secondary that features AJ Terrell, who they just extended this offseason, pair him with Jesse Bates, you go out and you add a Matthew Judon to this front 7 core. That Falcons defense is no joke. And then obviously across the other side of the table, you have the Steelers led by TJ Watt. And quite frankly, Scotty, when TJ Watt plays football, the Steelers normally win games. And I know that sounds he's not a quarterback, he's not some stud receiver that can dictate a game. He's not Lane Johnson or Trent Williams for the Eagles and Niners. He's a defensive end. He's a linebacker, right? But he controls and dictates games all the time, man. So this is going to be a defensive battle for my money. What I'm interested to see today, man, is how does Pittsburgh's offense look? How does, whether it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, whoever gets the start today, are they able to push the ball down the field more so than they have in the past? They're obviously going to rely on their running game behind their offensive line with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. But George Pickens is now wide receiver 1. They just gave Pat Freiermuth a lot of money. The one thing that has eluded the Steelers for quite some time now has been that quarterback position. They have the defense, they have the O-line, they have some skill players around them, but they haven't had that guy that's been able to do it. They went through Kenny Pickett, they've gone through Mason Rudolph, they've gone through a bunch of different guys. Can Justin Fields step in today and produce offensively for the Steelers is what I'm paying most attention to.
Yeah, and I do want to ask you a question off of that because I looked it up. It does look like Russell Wilson technically is still questionable. It says that he just tried his calf, I guess you said it was. He just tried it out a little over 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
But still questionable. More than likely that Justin Fields starts. But thinking about that in general, it's going to be a topic all this season, especially if Russ Wilson comes back, has some struggles out there. But does it make a difference to you who starts this game versus like the Steelers' chances of actually winning this game? And to that point, I guess I'm not trying to ask for your winner yet, but you know, who do you think gives them a better chance of winning games? Like, do you think it's clearly Russell Wilson?
I do believe it's still Russell Wilson at this point. However, I'm not going to get into the game pick yet and say who gives them a better chance, but this is an incredibly important game for Justin Fields if he gets the start. Because it's going to end up swinging in one direction or another severely, right? If Justin Fields goes out there and the Pittsburgh Steelers are able to move the ball up and down the field and put up points and rely on their defense and go on the road and win a tough ball game today, that's going to boost Justin Fields' stock a ton in that locker room. And if they go out and win this game today, man, with him starting, I don't know how you just turn around next week and say that Russell Wilson's getting the nod. And on the other side of it, there's been a lot of questions around Justin Fields' ability to push the ball down the field as a thrower, as a passer in this league, not just his athleticism and using his legs. And if he goes out there and the Steelers offense continues to struggle and look like it did last year, and they had to run the ball 33 times to try to stay in the ball game, if he turns the ball over, his first snap of the preseason, he fumbled multiple snaps on the opening drive this summer. If he goes out there and struggles, they're going to give the job to Russell Wilson next week if they lose this game. And I don't know how you would need Russell Wilson then in turn to be putrid for Justin Fields to get another look at that point. So this is a humongous start in terms of Justin Fields' future this season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think, you know, you look at this Steelers situation, what is the plan? You know, is it, I guess it's just to see if Justin Fields can give you anything towards your future. Maybe he could be the guy, right? Russell Wilson, see what you can get out of him while you have a great caliber defense like you have. You have a few weapons on offense. So it looks like there's a little bit of variability between the two situations and why each of them would start. But the problem I see for Pittsburgh, not even just in this game, but across the entire season, is that they come away from the season and they still really don't know what they have. And it's almost why I lean towards starting Justin Fields, because their defense is so good. They just have such a pedigree on that side of the ball that they're going to keep them in games no matter what. And it's almost going to fool you in a sense of this quarterback leading them to wins or keeping them competitive in games, right? We need to see more than that. So I don't know. I feel like they could fall into a little bit of a hole, but I do see what you mean, though, with Russell Wilson. At the same time, he still may have enough left in the tank to complement that team enough to get them to the postseason.
Exactly. But the issue, Scotty, for them, and I said this to you multiple times this summer, is in theory, right, on paper, the Steelers are better off with either one of these two options than they've been in the past. Either one of these guys, name-wise, gives you a lot better of a chance to win ball games with this defense and rushing attack than you've had in the past. The issue for me, Scotty, is If you have two, you don't have one in this
Yep.
league. And that's what I think the Steelers' issue is right now, man. You went out and you
Not
got
clear.
Russell Wilson from Denver. I know you're trying to balance the now and the future. So getting a young, athletic guy like Justin Fields and be able to groom him and get him going for the future is nice. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You obviously can't pass up on that opportunity if it presented itself for you and just say, oh, we can do this next year. If it doesn't work out for Russ, he might not be available next year, or the Bears are going to trade him somewhere else this season anyway to go get Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But I just don't really get the thought process to bring both of them in the same offseason when you've had quarterback drama and issues for the past, ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired. So
Yeah, and we even talked about like the idea that they've shown, putting Fields out there at wide receiver, putting two quarterbacks on the field at one time. Like, I'm just so over that concept in the NFL as a whole, man. It just doesn't work. It's
those
not tricky
gadget
enough.
plays don't work like
It,
that,
it
man.
just doesn't work. You have to have a really special player for you to be able to do stuff like that, right? And I just don't think that Justin Fields is like that, right? Like he's not that special. He's a great athlete.
No,
but
he's not going to be. Who was it for Cleveland a couple years back? Terrell Pryor, quarterback.
Yeah. That was the guy. He ended up switching
that's
to
not happening, man.
quarterback
And
to receiver.
those gadget plays, maybe they work once every in a blue moon, but
it's so obvious.
Try to fit this into your offensive game plan.
When that player comes on the field, it's so obvious what is about to happen. There's only going to be a few options of what could happen. So it generally doesn't work, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I did want to take a look from Atlanta's side. We talked a lot about Pittsburgh. Kirk Cousins added to this roster, to this offense, obviously has quite a few weapons out there. The three biggest being Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. How do you see Kirk Cousins impacting this offense from the jump, right? Like, obviously, maybe 5 weeks in, they should be good. He should be able to get guys involved and get the ball shared around. But how do you see it working out to start? Like, how would you approach this if you're Atlanta's offensive coordinator?
I mean, it's a really good test to see where you're at to start the season. And I will say,
that's fair.
It's week one for both sides. It's week one for both teams. But if Atlanta's able to come out and move the ball against a very, very good and tough Steelers defense today, that is going to speak volumes about what they're going to be able to do throughout the regular season as they continue to grow and build that chemistry. I look at it somewhat similarly to the Eagles on Friday night. Now, obviously, the Eagles have had their core in place. They've had their quarterback, which is the biggest, the biggest need, right? The biggest thing to have set for you, and not have someone new coming in is more difficult. But, you added Saquon Barkley, you added Jahan Dotson, new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. You play a Green Bay Packers defense basically on the road. I know you were the home team Friday night, but you're on the road in a different country playing a very good defense. And the Eagles offense, even with turning the ball over 3 times or 2, whatever, 3 times, almost 4, we're still able to put up 34 points. If the Atlanta Falcons can come out today, week 1 against the Steelers defense, new look, revamped team, revamped offense, and they're able to put up, 28, 27, 28, 30-ish type of points today, that I think that is going to speak volumes to what they're able to do this season.
And they're going to win the game if they do that, by the way. Like 28, 30 points is winning you this game. The Steelers aren't getting up there. So that being said, man, I want to ask you this before we go with the winner here, but total 41.5. Are they going over or under in this game, you think?
That's tough, man. It's such a low total that I don't love taking the under, because I mean, at that point, like a 20-17 ball game is sniffing it, right? Like, you're right there. And that's a pretty low scoring game. But I just don't know. Like, I opened this game by talking about these two defenses, and I just don't know if both teams are going to be able to put up enough drives, get enough explosive plays going to hit that number. But possibly, man. Again, I mean, think about it. What's it at? 41 or 42?
41. Well, on ESPN, they give you the ESPN bet app total that they're putting up. So it was 41.5 on ESPN.
I mean, Scotty, at that point, a 21-20 ball game pushes.
I know.
Like, that's tough, but I would lean under. I guess I'm not betting that total, probably. But I just don't know if the Steelers offense is going to generate enough firepower today. That's my thing. And to
Yeah.
get into kind of this game pick, I am going to go with the Falcons at home, and I think it'll be a very nice victory for them. I think it's a good first line on your new resume, right?
Yeah.
Again, for me, what it comes down to is what defense can frustrate the new quarterback more. And I think Justin Fields will struggle more against the Falcons on the road than Kirk Cousins will against a very good Steelers defense today.
Yeah, I do like the pick. I do agree with the pick. I'm going with the Falcons here as well. If I had to guess how the game would go, I would agree with you. I'd probably go under, but I would just stay away from it betting purposes
Yeah.
wise. I would go under just because I agree. I don't think the Steelers are going to get up, above 20 points per se, right? I think the Falcons, I don't see them getting to like 30-ish points either, though. I see somewhere around 21, 24, something like that. Maybe a 24 to like 10 type of victory today for the Atlanta Falcons.
Be a nice performance, man.
That's a great performance. That's where I feel like the talent lines up. When you look at the offense versus Steelers offense with Justin Fields, you look at each defense, which we think are going to be great. It just comes down to the quarterback. It comes down to who I think can get the ball where it needs to get to the most in this game. And I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins, even coming off the injury. I think he's going to be the better guy in this one. But I will say this, man. I was staying away from the Atlanta spread. I think it was at -4 the last time I looked at it. I'm staying away from it, even though I gave you a little bit of a score prediction there. That's just, in a perfect world, in my eyes, that's the way it would go. There is a world where that Steelers defense wreaks havoc. They, force Kirk Cousins into 2 or 3 turnovers today and keep that team in the game. And then maybe it's 2 or 3 point victory for Atlanta rather than 4. So yeah, I would stay away from the total. I'm staying away from the spread as well. Although I do like the Falcons to win this one, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. Next game up on the slate today, another sneaky good one. You have the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr. heading to Buffalo to take on Josh Allen and the Bills, and a team that struggled this offseason. Obviously, you lose Stephon Diggs, you trade him to Houston. Gabe Davis moves on. You really didn't do anything to replace them. You didn't build elsewhere. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are probably going to get a lot of looks at 2 tight end sets and personnel. That defense looks pretty familiar, pretty much the same. Jordan Poyer leaves for Miami. So I have question marks about the Bills. Like we talked about when we did the AFC East breakdown. I have questions, and I think that those start to get answered today. Now, this is a game Buffalo should still win. They are favored by 6.5, 7 points at most books. You are home. You do have the best player on the field in Josh Allen. You still do have a good defense led by a defensive-minded head coach in Sean McDermott. This is a game you should win. However, if I have to give you a pick for this game, I do kind of really like the idea of alting the Cardinals up to 7 or 7.5 in this one. I do think they'll be good enough to cover today.
Interesting. So you are – I'm sorry, say that again.
I like the Bills to win, but I do like the idea of alting the Cardinals up to 7 or 7.5 and take the points.
Okay. My bad. I didn't hear the last part of it before there, but yeah, I do agree with that actually as well. I think this could be a tight one for Buffalo, man. I think this is an intriguing Cardinals team. I think defensively they don't show too much promise there. I'm not expecting them to come out and shut down the Bills' offense, but at the same time, I don't expect the Bills defense to come out here and shut down the Cardinals. We're still early on in the season, even though it's in Buffalo. The weather's going to be nice. The Cardinals should be able to get the passing game going. They do have Kyler Murray back, which I think I feel like we are going to be reintroduced to Kyler Murray. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's like this top 10 quarterback, but he's a very dynamic quarterback. He's very dynamic in his skill set and what he presents and brings to an offense. And you're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. This is one of the most prolific wide receivers that have ever come out of college, right? Man. And one of the GOAT's sons that we're talking about here. And I'm extremely excited to see what he's going to produce at the NFL level because I think he can hit the ground running with this offense. James Conner, he's obviously a guy that gets into the end zone frequently. Plus 175 anytime touchdown for him, man. Today, I really like that lay because I do think the Cardinals are going to score points.
He just might be in my touchdown parlay for the people later on, Scotty. So we'll see.
I like it, man. But no, you hit the nail on the head, man. This is a big day for Josh Allen showing what this offense is really going to look like. Is it going to be the Josh Allen show where he has to do everything today to win them this game against the Arizona Cardinals, who don't have a proven defense? Or is it going to be one of these showcases where we see him have a I hate using like the Mahomes level like comparison.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say he's going to be Mahomes. I'm just saying Mahomes likes to spread the ball around. He doesn't really need a number one, right? He can spread it all around. Travis Kelce had 3 catches the other night. So that's what I mean by Mahomes-like type of production, where he's getting it to the rookie Keon Coleman. He's getting it.
It's what the great ones do, man. It's what
the great ones do.
You make these guys that you make a Mac Hollins look good today. You make a Khalil, what is it? Khalil Shakir. You make him look good today.
The order of the name.
Yeah, I know. Is it Shakir Khalil? No, I'm just kidding. But I do overall like the Bills to win this one today. I like the Cardinals to cover. It is a big game for Josh Allen, man. He has to start off on the right foot. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Eagles game tomorrow, but Jalen, like, you can't have a Jalen Hurts type of start in this one from Friday night. Jalen had moments where he looked great. He had some balls that were perfect, right? That AJ 64, 67-yard touchdown was right on the money. He had a couple 3rd and 4th down plays that were right on the money to Smitty, etc.
Lamar, night one.
Right.
At the end of the game.
Missing throws, Jalen turnovers. You can't have that start today if you're Josh Allen. It's play a clean game. It is a Cardinals team that was not good last year. They do get a healthy Kyler Murray back to start week 1. You mentioned with Marvin Harrison Jr., the Bills have to take care of business today, man.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you here. This is a must win for the Bills, quite honestly. We talked about the it's the AFC East. Yeah, I always get it confused because they're like North, but it's the AFC East.
And by the way, I was wondering where D-Rab was for a while, man.
Yeah, welcome, man. Victory Sunday. We'll hopefully have more. We have Monday Night Football next week, though, right?
What's up?
Against the Falcons. Is it Monday night?
Monday night, yes, sir.
In Philly? Yeah, so we'll have Victory Tuesday next week. That'll be interesting. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm with you, man. This is a must-win for Buffalo this season. You look at their schedule as a whole, they do need to beat the Cardinals. This is one of those games you would have marked off as a win for them, right? Like guaranteed. It's one of those you expect them to win. So they need to come out here, handle business today. I'm with you, though. I think the Cardinals could be a little surprising in the amount of points that they're able to put up. And I think it could be a little closer than what Buffalo Bills fans would like. What about the total, man? 46.5, I believe.
That's very intriguing to me.
I like that one.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
I do like that one a lot as well.
So
I think both teams. I think you're going to see a couple big plays from both sides. I think you're going to see.
Agreed.
You might see a Khalil Shakir big catch, streaking over the middle of the field. You might see a Marvin Harrison Jr. or a James Conner screen or something like that that goes a long way. I think they'll have enough explosive plays to help with the clock and help with the scoring early on in this one. So I do like that total.
James Cook should be a big part of Buffalo's offense.
No, I agree, man. Not to backtrack back to the Steelers game, but when you brought up Monday Night Football next week, it got me thinking because I've seen a couple people, the bad juju, right? And I've seen a couple people talk about on social media, if the Eagles won on Friday, this is before the game. If they win on Friday, I don't know if they're going to win on Monday night, against the Falcons. That'd be 2 really good wins to start the year. But if they lose tonight, they'll beat the Falcons. I'm going back to that Steelers game, and I'm just thinking, man, like, we both picked the Falcons, but I'm probably going to be like rooting for the Falcons because then in my mind that gets the bad juju over here. If the Falcons win today, are they really going to beat a tough Steelers team and then go on the road and beat the Eagles on Monday night and start out 2-0? And in reverse, with all those expectations, are they going to start 0-2 at that point if they lose today? So I am pulling for the Falcons from that standpoint, man.
The good news The good news with them in their division is that they could lose both of
Yeah, and
those
still
games
run away
and
with it.
still
Yeah,
be fine in their division. So that is the upside for the Atlanta
yeah.
Falcons in
No,
that
you're
case.
you're
But
you're
yeah, that
spot
is a
on.
great point because they'll be a lot more hungry if they lose this
Yeah,
game this week.
yeah,
Not to say, they're going to be hungry regardless. We're one of the contenders they're running up against. But
yeah.
I do get your point. I get your point as far as
This next
fuel to the
matchup,
fire.
man. This next matchup is a very tough one, and the spread is swaying me back and forth. Titans at Chicago. All the hype
Oh,
on the Bears. I had the Bears making the playoffs this year as the 7th seed in the NFC when we did our breakdowns. I think that offense is going to be fun to watch, which is something even with Justin Fields there in the past. And when they went out and got a DJ Moore, it just wasn't that, right? Like you're going to see Keenan Allen, who's
yeah,
still 1,000-yard type of receiver, still one of the
yeah.
best route runners and one has some of the best hands in the game. So you add that to a DJ Moore, a Cole Kmet, you bring in a DeAndre Swift with the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams. A lot of attention, a lot of hype surrounding this team. They're kicking off the season at home. That crowd is going to be rowdy. They're hungry. They're trying to set the tone for the
Yeah,
year. But this
exciting time
Titans
for
team, man,
Chicago.
I believe the spread's 4.5 right now, depending where you're looking.
Yeah,
And we talked about them, right? If Will Levis can just play serviceable football this year, they're an odd team, right? They're kind of a tough,
yeah,
stingy defense. They don't have, a ton of names that pop off the paper, although they did go out and get a L'Jarius Sneed to add to the back end of the secondary. They had some head coach turnover, but offensively, man, you go out and you get a Tony Pollard from the Cowboys to replace Derrick Henry. You add a Calvin Ridley, you to DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm forgetting one more person on offense, I think. Oh, Tyler
yes,
Boyd. You went out and got Tyler Boyd as a third
yeah,
option
from
in the
Cincy.
slot, man. The Titans are a pretty intriguing play today for me. Not to maybe win outright, but to cover a 4.5 number today is kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Even Traylon Burks, right? The former first
Yeah.
round pick. Maybe he's better as wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 than he is as wide receiver 1. So, yeah, it is an
I mean,
intriguing team.
Will Levis has some talent at his
He
disposal.
does. He does. And I think, that being said, in this game, I think he is kind of the wild card of the game.
Yeah.
There's 2 wild cards in the game for me. Caleb Williams is not one of them. I think Caleb Williams is going to come out and perform well. I think he's going to play like an NFL quarterback. If he plays great, then I'll be excited. But I think he's going to come out and at least be good today. That being said, looking on the other side, I think Will Levis, he's kind of the wild card. He has talent. He has some weapons around him. What does their offensive line look like? We'll find out about that. Can they get a competent run game going to support him? We'll see about that. But can he make the throws? That's what it's going to come down to. Can he make the right decisions in the right moments? And you just don't know until you watch them play. But when you know that they at least have the intangibles, you can get a little bit of hope or intrigue there, or interest. And that's what I have in the Titans this season coming into the year, because I do think their defense can be sturdy. I don't know if they'll be one of the best units in the league. They can be sturdy. They can be competent. That being said, the other wild card of the game for me, along with Will Levis, is going to be that Chicago defense. If they come out and they're a poor defense, if they're below average, then yeah, the Titans could mess around and win this game potentially, because I do think the Titans defense can hold up enough. But all that being said, man, the excitement comes from the Bears offense, all the new toys that you get on the offense, along with the biggest toy of all, the quarterback, and Caleb Williams. I can't wait to see what they're able to do on offense. They brought in the rookie Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. You mentioned it, DeAndre Swift. They still have DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. They have a ton of talent on that side of the ball. It's warm out, right? I talked about this in our division breakouts. It's warm out right now. I think they're going to ball out in the warm months. I think they're going to be able to score points. It's when they get into those cold months up in Chicago where you really have to run the ball, you have to play sturdy defense. Are they going to be able to just buckle up and do that?
Yeah.
Those are where my concerns come in for them. But I think early on in the season, I think Caleb Williams, once again, is going to come out and have some fun today with these toys. But I do agree with you on the intrigue part, and I think that's what makes the spread a little iffy, because you don't know what Chicago's defense is, and you don't know what Will Levis is. So maybe the Titans are able to keep up and put up some points today to make this a close game. I will say this to my mother-in-law, Kathy, to my father-in-law, both Chicago Bears fans. I did roll with the Chicago Bears today. I had a 100% boost on FanDuel for any money line on the slate, $25 max. So I used a 100% boost on Chicago. They were like minus 196 or something at the time. Came out to like plus 104. So I maxed
they're
that
minus
out.
198 still right now. Are you
I'll be
intrigued
rooting for the Bears.
Are you intrigued by that total with these two offenses that we're talking about? A little bit of unknown on defense.
It's interesting.
43.5. You could alter 43 so you don't get crushed by the hook. That's kind of what I normally like to do. I think I do. I think I do like that.
What I saw, and shout out to Mark Henry. I saw this on his post. He posted his best bets earlier this morning. He did the Chicago team total by itself, which I think was, I want to say 23.5 or 22.5 at the time. So that's what he did. So that's the other option aside from the whole game total. You could go Chicago team total as well.
I do like that, man. But I do agree. I like the Bears to win. I do think the Titans are a sneaky a cover or a backdoor cover today. Next, we can run through this one very, very quickly. New England at Cincinnati. Regardless if Jamar Chase and or T. Higgins suit up today or not, this game is not close. The Bengals will cover the 8 points today. The Patriots are just a train wreck. Now, maybe with all the issues going on in Cincy, if Chase doesn't play, maybe if Bill was still there, right? And Bill, week one, no matter the issues at quarterback and the offensive line and the lack of talent all around, defensively, maybe he mucks up this game and keeps them in it. But he's not there. And Gerard Mayo has taken over as head coach. We'll see what that culture looks like in Foxborough now. But I like the Bengals and Joe Burrow to dominate this ball game.
Yeah, man, I'll go this far. I don't know if I like them to dominate them. We'll see what the Patriots defense is like. Obviously, they did sell some parts off, including Matthew Judon this offseason. So they could end up being bad. That's the question I have written down here on just by this game. It's the only question I have on the game, and it is, how bad is New England going to be? And that's the question we're going to find out today. If they do get dominated by a Jamar Chase-less, T. Higgins-less offense and Joe Burrow out there working with a bunch of second and third stringers as far as skill set players, then they're pretty damn bad. I do think they're going to lose no matter what. Interesting if they would be able to cover the spread. That would be a W for the Patriots if they were able to cover the spread. But that's all I'll say about it. I do got the Bengals winning. I don't know by how much, but I think they do win.
Brother,
you see this
business. Yes, and it makes him
taking my attention away. I'm sorry.
It makes him the highest paid player in NFL history, and it
Are
just
you kidding me?
Swear to God, and it makes me laugh even further and even more at Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys organization. What are we doing here? I'm not talking about the money. I'm not talking about making him the highest paid player ever. I'm talking about the fact that what was the point? What was the point in just this entire offseason and this entire summer with CD and now Dak? If you were just going to not only give them what they want, but probably just give them more than they ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Dak and his agent were saying, we need to be paid the highest quarterback money ever, which then in turn makes them the highest paid player, whatever. What was the point in this whole offseason full of drama to just turn around and give them this number anyway? Like,
you're going to pay Dak, make him the highest paid player ever, but you weren't going to bring back his number one wide receiver.
Right.
But then you do end up paying the number one wide receiver more than anybody's ever made at the position. So you paid him, you maxed him out anyways. Like, and then my next question is, I mean, how does this? I'm not a financial wizard. How does it impact their ability to re-sign Michael Parsons? That's where the fattest contract is going to come from.
And so, you know, if you go and do that in the near future, what else are you going to be able to do? If you go out and give Micah what he wants, I don't know what else you're going to be able to do to fill out the rest of this roster in the future. So
they
are a funny organization. Jerry Jones is a funny man, Scotty. They are.
See,
What did he say about the Eagles? The Cowboys are still all in, but they're not. They're not pushing all their chips just on 1 year, right? But meanwhile, he
that's the
goes.
problem. That's the problem with having a quarterback like Dak Prescott to the point where you now have made him the highest paid player in NFL history. And the reason I say that is because when Dak Prescott he goes into contract negotiations with his agent and Jerry Jones or the general manager of the Cowboys, blah, 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 he can say, I had 4,500 passing yards last
Yeah.
year. I was 69% completion rate. I had 36 passing touchdowns and single digit interceptions. I'm the best quarterback in the NFL. Statistically, he can go into a meeting and say that. Realistically, we know that that's not true. It's not even close to true based on what we've seen. So they're in a little bit of a situation there. Interesting. I guess that's why they didn't go out and improve their team this offseason, because they had to go and hand that money.
I mean,
out.
it's just an interesting time, right? Because Dak's been back and forth on this, right? He bet on himself and had the major injury.
Yeah.
Got paid a little bit. The franchise tag. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? And it's like, I just don't know how you watch how your season unfolded and ended last year, and watch his specific performance.
Yeah.
And then go out and make him the highest paid player in NFL history and lock that in. Again, now the conversation is like, well, Dak Prescott still, we have him both at 10 in our top 10 quarterbacks. He's right around there. Dak Prescott's a very talented guy. So the question is,
he deserves money.
well, not even just that. Like if you're the Cal and they're like, oh, I would never give him. Well, then where are you going to go? You're gonna tank for a year and try to find the next quarterback, or are you trading for a Kirk Cousins? That's not better, right? So, like, what are you realistically going to do? You can't trade for any of the 9 guys ahead of them. They're not. No team's parting with them or anything. So
that's fair.
They're in a tough spot. But again, the whole offseason drama, the back and forth, Jerry holding out on them, and then all of a sudden on game day, just giving in, right? But anyway, moving down the slate, Scotty. Maybe the most intriguing matchup today, AFC South showdown, Texans at Colts, man. Texans, one of, if not the busiest team in the offseason, adding and trading for Stephon Diggs, going out and getting a Joe Mixon, going out and getting a Daniil Hunter to go on that defensive line. Drafted well. They are a very, very fun and interesting team to keep an eye on this year in the AFC. Can they compete with Patrick Mahomes come time for January? And then you have the Colts, a team that last year had Gardner Minshew starting for them. Anthony Richardson, their rookie QB, goes down early on in the season. He's back this year, and people are saying, man, the Colts came down to week 18 fighting with this Texans team for the division. Will they get Anthony Richardson back? Why can't they compete? I look at these two teams and I go, they're just not that close talent-wise. Like, they're not like Michael. You know how I feel about Michael Pittman Jr. We've talked about him enough. I'm not sure Michael Pittman Jr. is a top 20 wide receiver in this league. If you really go down the list, there's probably team that's the guys I would take over him if I was building a team or wanted them on my team. Jonathan Taylor, we'll see. We still have him as a top 10 running back, a top 7 or 8 running back in this league. We'll see what he looks like with the dual threat of Anthony Richardson next to him, not a Gardner Minshew. So that'll help him. But down the line after that, man, I don't think they have much talent offensively. And defensively, maybe it's close, but I do like what the Texans did through the draft and the deal and the Hunter signing. So I do think the Texans win this one. And that probably is a money line that I'm going to hammer today. The spread at 3 it's interesting. You could always get caught by just a 3. I believe the money line is -150 or -155. If you had the funds for it, I would just go ahead and lay the money line specifically.
Yeah, this game is it's really interesting, and it's really interesting because it's in Indianapolis. The Colts are at home, and if the Colts are going to compete for this division this year, they're going to have to win this game at home.
Yeah.
It's bigger. It's almost bigger for the Colts than it is for the Texans, but at the same time, the Texans do have these new toys for C.J. Stroud. You do have C.J. Stroud coming into his second year, coming off a great rookie season, a lot of expectations coming into this year. They did, man, on the defensive side of things, not just Danielle Hunter, but Danico Autry. They added a total of 28 sacks from last year to that defensive line. Autry with 11.5, Hunter with 16.5 last year for Minnesota. So added a hefty amount of pressure right onto that defensive line to go along with Will Anderson. Added Jeff Okuda, who once again injury concerns from the past, but is a highly touted prospect coming out of college. Been in the league a couple years, hasn't been able to figure it out, but maybe he can figure it out down there. The only thing that intrigues me about this game, and the reason that, like, I do have the Texans winning this division, we talked about that, but I do think when these two teams play, it can end up a close game because of the way that the Colts can play. They have that dual threat back there in the backfield. They can run the football, which is going to counteract what I think is the strong suit of the Houston Texans defense, was their pass rush, right? If you're able to run the football, that can help eliminate or help maintain the pass rush with the Texans. So I do think it could end up a close game. I am going with the Texans in this one. So I can back your money line there, man. But I am a little sketched out with it being on the road. But the talent, it is a matter of talent. Who can make the bigger plays down the stretch if this is a close game, right? If this is a 2020 game entering the fourth quarter, which one of these offenses is going to be able to pass it down the field and get a touchdown, right? If both defenses are showing up, if these pass rushes are getting after it, who do you trust more? I'm going to go with CJ Stroud, but it is a weird, it's kind of a weird matchup. If it was in Houston, I would be all in on the Texans and the spread. With it being in Indy, I'll take the money line with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be. I think it is much more important for the Colts today. Like you said, this is a game that you got to take care of. I know it's early. I know it's week one. It's not going to
just to have a chance
make or break your season. But when you're looking at trying to chase down the Texans, who won the division last year, beefed up their roster big time. CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryan, second year together. You have to win this head-to-head matchup, specifically at home. Not sure you're going to go into Houston later on in the season and take that one there as well. So this is a very big
Packers
matchup
next week too.
Yeah, man. Let's real quick. I'm going to jump one game, and I'm going to package like 3 or 4 games together because some of these are bad, man. And we don't got it. We don't have to dive into these. Panthers, Saints. Wow, what a matchup in the AFC in the NFC.
One I won't be watching at all.
Yeah, not a chance. And I don't know how much airtime it's going to get on Red Zone if you're a Red Zone viewer.
No interest
like myself.
there.
I do have the Saints winning this game. It's at home. It's in the dome. Bryce Young. I think their defense will be able to turn them over. And ultimately they'll win a very ugly game. But here's the issue, Darius. Derek Carr stinks, man. Like he stinks. So I
don't think they're going to be pretty good, man. But
we'll see.
I don't know. I'm down on the Saints, to be honest. I have them, I think I had them third in the division, right? Above the Panthers. They had to be third at least.
Yeah,
but I like the Bucs.
You're going to beat that team today. I do agree. But
I love Olave. I like Alvin Kamara. They got some decent weapons, but that defense is old, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on them, but enough today, though. Enough. Yeah. I think they'll cover. I think they'll beat the Panthers. Panthers are
where down there here, man.
Panthers and Patriots, right? 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
because I would take the Broncos over both of those teams.
Absolutely. That defense, if Bo Nix can end up working out even a little bit, that helps out, man. Next one. And within our division, Vikings at Giants. Malik Neighbors makes his debut. Sam Darnold quarterbacking the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy down. Another stink fest.
Versus Daniel Jones.
I don't know where to go here, man. I really don't. Like, is Sam Darnold better than Daniel Jones? I know we hate on Daniel Jones. Like, is Daniel Jones the worst quarterback in the NFL?
I don't think so.
I don't know. You have Aaron Jones versus Devin Singletary. You have Justin Jefferson versus Malik Neighbors today. Defensively, both a little unknown. The Giants at home, they do have a very good front seven. Am I going to pick the Giants? I'm going to pick the Giants. I think I don't know how many games they're going to win this year. I got to give them home against the Sam Darnold-led Vikings.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. Obviously, I don't love picking a divisional foe to win another matchup, but I do think the Giants are going to have enough defensively to win this. I
Yeah.
think their front seven, which you mentioned, is going to get after Sam Darnold enough to get a turnover or two. Give Daniel Jones an easy situation, right? Get a couple scores that way, maybe. I am interested to see Malik Neighbors. Is he, worth all the hype that he's been garnering around? Can Daniel Jones actually get the ball in his hands? These are some things that I would look out for in that one, but I actually won't be watching. So, But I do like the Giants to win this one. I think the Vikings. We asked which one of these teams could be the worst. The Vikings are down there as well. They just happen to have Justin Jefferson, which is
agree.
fun.
And I don't know what Aaron Jones is going to bring to this offense. Like Aaron Jones worked out in Green Bay for so many years next to Rodgers.
Yeah.
Obviously last year with Love in that offense and LaFleur. Like I get it. Now, like, is he going to be like a focal point? Like, are they going to have to turn and give him the ball 25 times today? I don't know, man, and I don't like that. So I do.
I think they'll be playing from behind so often that they won't be able to do that with him. Like he'll be good. I think he'll be good with his touches, but just don't think you're going to be able to force feed him like that.
Another division matchup: AFC West Raiders and Antonio Pierce taking on the newly led Jim Harbaugh Chargers. Justin Herbert resurgence. However, man, I mean the Chargers got rid of a lot and didn't replace it. I mean, you moved on from Austin Eckler, who's been a focal point of your offense for quite some time, and you replaced him with the last year's Ravens backfield and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. You moved on from Keenan Allen. You moved on from Mike Williams. I don't love what they have offensively. I kind of like the Raiders to go on the road and get a win today, Scotty.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I definitely think the Raiders are going to at least cover this game. I think Chargers are 3-point favorites the last time I saw the odds, but I'm with you, man. Even on the road, it's not like the Chargers have like a great home crowd. It's LA. Like, are there even any Chargers fans out there in LA? But no, it's really not about that. It's more about Antonio Pierce and what I thought he was starting to build towards the end of last season. He started to build some culture there in Las Vegas, especially with the defense. You still have Devontae Adams out there. You still have a few toys that you can play with compared to the Chargers, per se. And I just think there is a ton of pressure on the Chargers, on Justin Herbert, on Jim Harbaugh, to come out and look competent, look like a good football team. This is Jim Harbaugh's second chance in the NFL, right? Justin Herbert doesn't have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but they were always injured anyways, right? Maybe he's better off without them. We'll see about that. We'll see what these weapons can produce, or lack thereof, I guess you could say. But I will say I like the Raiders to cover, at least, if not win this game, as you propose there as well. But yeah, something just as we got here to day one or Sunday one of the NFL regular season, my doubt has really started to creep in with the LA Chargers, man. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't really like anything about their team outside the fact that
I like Justin Herbert, but not
but
like a Josh Allen level.
I like Justin Herbert in terms of what
level.
I think he can sling the rock. Can he win? Can he win you ball games? Can he win big moments when things get tight? I don't know. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see what Harbaugh could get this team doing today at home. I'll bounce back here. Jags at Dolphins. This is going to be another money line lay for me. I do like to end this offense at home. Tyreek Hill detained and cuffed on his way to the stadium earlier this morning. There's a video circulating social media right now. His agent did say he will still be playing today. So he's probably going to find the end zone, Scotty, maybe twice. With that said, it's the classic Dolphins, right? When we broke down the AFC East, you and I went through their schedule. It's the same ending to the same movie each and every year. It's nice out. They're at home in Miami. The weather, they're going to be high flying today. I think they're going to put up a bunch of points on a Jacksonville Jaguar defense today. Yeah. And then come the last 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season, when that schedule tightens up and they're going to Lambeau and they're going up to Buffalo and they're going here and they're playing whoever they got, things are going to get tough and they're going to start to lose games. But for now, September, the Dolphins will win today, and this is going to be a heavy money line lay for me.
Yeah, I actually love it because I actually parlayed Houston money line and Miami money line together. So yeah, I'm actually rolling with Miami in this one as well. I actually like their spread too, being at home. But I will say this, man, this game is interesting because I called this the battle of the frauds out there in AFC,
Okay.
man. You look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Tua, and it's like, oh man, like these high flying offenses, these
Yeah.
highly touted quarterbacks out of college, these guys with a ton of potential, and they always end up the
Yep.
same exact place at the end of the season, man. Disappointing, not meeting expectations. So this is one of those things where who do you trust more in this situation? Do you trust Trevor Lawrence? Do you trust Tua Tagovailoa? I trust the guy with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That's where it breaks down for me. That's why I'm going with the Dolphins. And they're at home. I do like them to come out. It's the beginning of the season, like you said, warm weather. They should be high flying out there. That offense should come out rolling. It's once again similar to what I said about Chicago. Not to say that Chicago is that yet, but the Dolphins definitely are that. When it gets cold out, their game suffers. The way they play,
Yeah.
their style of play. What about the over in this one, 49.5? Do you think the Jags can score enough points to cover that?
Yeah, I think they will. I think
I do
Trevor
too.
Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, Christian, I think they'll be able to move the ball a couple times. That Dolphins defense isn't locking down anybody for the most part.
Yeah,
Vic Fangio obviously moves on. He's with us now. So we'll see what they look like on the defense side of the ball. I know they went out and locked up Jalen Ramsey. They
yeah.
did some things this offseason, bringing down a Jordan
He
Poyer,
was
but
made
I
the
think
highest paid corner,
corner, I think so. I think so.
which is
But
interesting.
yeah, I do lean the over in that game. I think Miami will probably get to in the 30 or low 30s
30s.
probably. And
Yeah,
at that point, I mean, you just need Trevor Lawrence to score like 17 to 20 points, and I think they'll
yeah,
be able to do so. So we'll see, man. But I do agree. I like the Dolphins money line here. I like the Texans money line. You parlayed them. Those are probably my two money line, just straight plays, especially in the 1 o'clock slate. Next game, we do have Bo Nix and the Broncos heading to Seattle to take on the 12th man and Geno Smith. This is a weird game, man. The Broncos, we know what they've built on the defensive side of the ball, led by Pat Surtain. They're going to be a tough assignment for Geno and that offense today in Seattle. Bo Nix gets to wear the C this year in his rookie year. I
yeah.
heard hearing good things about him throughout camp, throughout preseason. But what do they have left at the skill position for
Right.
him? They already didn't have much, and Jerry Jeudy moved on to Cleveland. I mean, I just don't know who Bo Nix is going to be able to get the ball out to today. Javonte Williams came into the league 2 years ago, took it by storm. People loved him, talked him up. He got injured. He got banged up, missed some time, comes back last year. The whole team, the whole offense stinks. He suffers. And now this year, they're going to have to work him and ride him throughout weeks and weeks to start this year with a rookie quarterback. We'll see. I am going to take the Seahawks in this one at home, Scotty. I think they'll be able.
Yeah,
What's the spread? 6.5. It's an
yeah.
interesting number.
A little sketchy, but
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I probably lean under as well. That total again, 41-42 just seems very low, especially. And you know what kind of clogs your mind is watching college football. Because if
yeah,
college football spreads
yeah,
or totals are sitting around 40-41. So
yeah.
you want to bet for points, you want to watch scoring and offense. So you hope, that's pretty easy. Not in this matchup. I do think offense is going to be hard to come by for these two.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Bo Nix and that Broncos offense, it's interesting. I think, to see how he develops over this season is going to be fun. He's a fun prospect, right? He's intriguing. He's very different than other prospects. But we'll see what he brings, man. The struggle for me in this one is the Broncos offense, though. Even with that variability, you still lack positions at the skill set, or you
Yeah.
lack talent
Skill
at the skill
position.
set positions, excuse me. So looking at it from that perspective, I think, looking at what Seattle did this offseason, they go out, they bring in Mike McDonald, bring more of that defensive prowess identity to them. We remember the Legion of Doom days right out in Seattle. And I think they're trying to get back to that, man. I think they're trying to get back to having an intimidating defense and great secondary that is filled with ball hawks. I love their two corners, Tyreek Woolen and Devon Witherspoon. Two guys that should develop well into this season. I think it's Witherspoon's second season, Woolen's third.
Yeah.
So they should be coming into their own this year. I just don't think the Broncos are going to be able to put up enough points today. You do still have a trio of wide receivers out there in Seattle that are very talented. Arguably, one of the top trios in the NFL. Maybe JSN though, right? Maybe that's a
Yeah.
conversation to have. I think he, steps over Tyler Lockett this year.
Oh,
Can he step
I
over
like it.
DK? I don't know. I don't know about DK. DK's that dog, but I like those guys to have some fun today out there with Geno. But interesting question with Seattle, man. How far is Geno's leash? Does he have a leash? Is his job at risk? Like they bring in Sam
No,
Howell in
and
the
I believe
offseason.
Gino got paid in the offseason, right, or no?
Did he? He might have.
I
He
think so.
might have. He
I think
might
so.
have. So maybe Sam Howell's just the
Yeah,
ongoing backup.
yeah,
And I think that's more where he fits. But I think this is one of those games for Seattle at the beginning of the season. It's a game they should win
yeah.
at home. And it's one of those games where you need to prove that you're going to be able to keep up with the
Right. Well,
Rams
exactly.
and
Exactly. This
the
is a game. This is
49ers.
one of those gimme games. And in a division with the 49ers and the Rams, if you want to keep up and in a crowded NFC overall, if you want to try to make a wild card, you better be able to keep
Yeah,
up. So these are the games specifically, like you said, at home that you got to go out and just
you have to.
win and do what you're supposed to. And I do agree. I think they will today. I'd probably stay away from the spread. I'd lean under. It's not a game
Yeah,
I'm going to be betting on.
I
But
agree.
we'll see. Next one, there's only 3 games left on this Sunday slate. We had the Commanders heading to Tampa to take on Baker and the Bucks, who won a playoff game last year. Baker gets paid. He's the guy in Tampa for now. Jaden Daniels, obviously the Commanders go out and take him in the first round of this year's draft, looking to see if they finally found their franchise quarterback. Interesting game here, man. I'm going to go with the
Yeah,
Bucks. Being at home, having your quarterback in place, Mike
yeah.
Evans, Chris Godwin, Rashad White. I think Baker will be able to move the ball a bit today. Weird
The
game
spread
for me. Weird game for me. I believe it's
three and a half.
4.5, something like that.
Last time I
Um,
saw it, it was 3.5. Let me just double check here.
DraftKings has Washington +4.
Okay, it's minus 3.5 on ESPN. So 4, basically.
The
Yeah.
over is 42. I kind of like the over in this
I
ball
do
game.
like the over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I
the
would
spread,
I would go over here. Spread's tough. I would
the
pick Tampa
Commanders are
straight up.
tricky, man. I think they're going to be one of those like sneakingly annoying teams this year where they do have a mobile quarterback. He will have a couple struggles here or there, but he is a talented guy. They have a few weapons on offense. They added Eckler to that backfield with Robinson. So they're not like going to be this contender this year. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs or anything like that. But I do think they're a team that's going to compete. They do have a sturdy defense to keep them in games as well.
I
But
agree.
I do love the over in this one, and I like the Bucks at home. That's the big thing for me, it being home opener. Baker Mayfield, can he keep that positivity going from last year? That's my big question for this one. What's he
Yeah,
look
no,
like?
I do agree, but I think the Bucks come away with a win. Last
Okay.
game before we get to Sunday Night Football, Cowboys at Browns, game of the week on Fox. This one I will be tuned in on
Yeah, likewise.
come that 425 slot, and I am all over the Cleveland Browns today, man. This is a culmination of 2 things. Okay, this
Talk to
is
me.
the fact that I picked the Cleveland Browns to win a very difficult
I know.
AFC North division this year. I do love that defense. Jerome Ford, and gets the start today, obviously with Nick Chubb starting the year on the pup list, but he'll be back at some point. You have Amari Cooper and Njoku still. You brought over a Jerry Jeudy that can kind of stretch the field. The question of the game, the question of the Browns season, Deshaun Watson. What level is he at? Is he anything close to a couple years ago? Is he more so what we saw when he first returned to the NFL? Is he in the middle? If he's in the middle, I think you get a team that can win a lot of games for you this year. And on the other side of the table, call me a hater all you want. I get it. I know what I'm wearing. I know what's behind me on the wall. Duh, it's no surprise that I do not like the Dallas Cowboys, but this has nothing to do with it. This has everything to do with that their offseason has absolutely sucked. We talked about the Dak extension when it came out about a half hour ago. CD obviously got extended earlier in the week last week. We talked about just the dysfunction of Jerry Jones and management, just holding out all season, stirring up drama and conversations just to make these two the highest paid at their positions, basically. Which is just ultimately ridiculous. And you're handicapping yourself. And your other big moves were bringing back Ezekiel Elliott. That's what you
Yeah.
did. I mean, you lost 3 starting offensive linemen, really didn't do much to replace them. You lost your number 1 or your number 3 receiver. You did nothing to replace it. You lost your running back and brought back an old running back that's beat up. And you lost your defensive coordinator. He's the head coach now in Washington. And you added Eric Kendricks. Congratulations. This is 2 things. This is Dallas not getting better or improving, and this is Cleveland finally ready to take that step and make the playoffs. I love, love, love the Browns money line today, Scotty, at home.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I think this is going to be sort of a defensive showdown to an extent. I think Dallas defense getting after the quarterback, they could cause a couple issues for Deshaun Watson with their pass rush. I think Cleveland, obviously, you talked about the Dallas offensive line. I think they're going to struggle heavily with Cleveland's pass rush, and Myles Garrett, obviously, could end up being the player of the game, quite honestly. But a couple questions to go along with this game. Dallas specifically, you mentioned it. They just didn't really do much to get better on paper last year, coming from last year into this year. Are they a playoff team? Are they a division contender? Are they a contender? Or are they a non-playoff team? Like, what are they? How bad could they be? How good could they be? There's a lot of questions that go along with this team. They're hard to gauge based on just the lack of what they did or what they didn't do this offseason. With the Browns, it's exactly what you said. What is Deshaun Watson? We know what their defense is. We know what their run game can be. They got weapons on the outside, added Jerry Jeudy to the mix out there to go along with Amari Cooper. No Nick Chubb in this one, but what is it, Jerome Ford? I
Jerome
forget
Ford.
his first. It's Jay Ford to me from fantasy, but Jerome Ford, the backup for Nick Chubb, he was very sturdy last year. He's a little bit more versatile as well, can help out in the passing game. So I do like what he brings, but is Deshaun Watson going to be good? Is he going to be above average? Is he going to be ass? Is he just going to be average? Like, what is he this year? You mentioned it. If he can be good, above average, this team wins double-digit games this season, and I think they do beat a Cowboys team that didn't improve at home today.
At all.
So I am going to go with the Browns, and I'll say this, man. I think the Browns defense is going to be so what do you want to call it? I'll just use the term hungry to go after Dak Prescott after getting that contract today, just to make the Cowboys and him look like a goddamn fool. So my one question to the Cowboys is, like, why didn't you just wait until after this game to pay Dak Prescott? Right? Like, I don't know. I think, you go into this game, you tell Dak Prescott, have a great game today. We'll make you the highest paid player in the NFL.
Yeah.
But no, they'd rather get it done before the game just to fuel the Browns defense.
And not the week before the game, not 2 weeks before the game, the morning of.
The day of.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, man. But I'm all over the Browns.
I'm going to be on the Browns as well.
Yes, sir. And let's hope that maybe the Cowboys are one of all 3 or just the only team that comes away with a loss today, and I'll be happy within our division. Sunday Night Football, man. A great game. NFC, I believe, divisional round rematch from last year. The Rams and Matthew Stafford head to Ford Field and take on the Detroit Lions. Stafford versus Goff. It has some history to it now. I believe the total set around 52 and a half. It's Rams plus 4.5 right now. This is an interesting game, man. I'm intrigued to see where you go because I know how high you are on the Rams this year. It's tough to go on the road, especially week 1. The Lions were a couple plays away from trying to make the Super Bowl last year. They're going to be hungry to set the tone today. I kind of want to say yes, the Lions win, but man, something about alding the Rams up to 5 or 5.5 is incredibly interesting today, or tonight, I should say. And I do kind of like the Rams to cover. The total, in theory, this is the matchup that should be putting up points.
Yeah.
It's just a decent amount. You need to get to 53, 54 to cover this one. I mean, you're looking at high 20s for both, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, they matched up in the postseason last year. The score was 24-23. So what? They hit the 47-point mark.
Yeah, so not getting there with
a
that.
a little under that. Shouldn't be as intense defensively, right? Given that it's a regular season game, the defense should be a little bit more sloppier than what they would be come the postseason. So should be able to put up a few more points, I would imagine. But at the same time, the offenses aren't going to be at their best either. So just some stuff to keep in mind. I think the easy route to go here is the over, man. The 52.5, I saw it at. I do like it, honestly. I think these teams are going to score. I think it's going to be a matter of which defense can just step up in the big moment, right? Get one stop, one turnover, one sack to end a drive. Just something like that, a big game-changing play. And then I guess the question becomes, which of these teams do you have more faith in making that play?
Yeah.
And that's where I have a hard time, because my natural instinct would be to say the Rams can and will win this. Lost to the Lions just by 1 point. This is like a revenge type of game. You let Goff get the one up on you, Stafford. This could be, that type of game. I also just think the Rams are going to be better this year, offensively especially. Yeah. It's their defense that I worry about. It's being in Detroit that I worry about. And Detroit does have a star in Aiden Hutchinson on that defensive line that can come up with a big play when they need it. Can be a game wrecker for them on the defensive side of things. And I just don't know who that's going to be for the Rams just yet. You lose Aaron Donald. You lose the linebacker. Getting my words confused. Is it Ernest Jones?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Traded him. He was one of their best linebackers last season. So I am interested to see the Rams defense. I think that's going to be what, it's going to tell a lot of how their season's going to go. I picked them to compete for their division with the 49ers, but without a competent defense, it's going to be really hard to do that. I will go with the Lions tonight. I'm not going to put any money on money line, anything like that, because I think the Rams can win this game. I'll go with the Lions for picking purposes here, but the spread, 4.5, 5 points. I can see like 2 or 3. I mean, look at the playoff. It was 24-23. Yeah. I can see 2 or 3 point win for the Lions tonight.
No, I agree, man. Are we doing Monday night, or are we going live?
Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way since no turf talk tomorrow. We don't know if CMC is playing. That's a big variable for me. Yeah. Because if he doesn't, let me put it this way. If CMC doesn't play, everyone will then realize why CMC is the MVP last year.
I like it.
And not Brock Purdy of that team, of that offense, because he is such an integral part. And I think no CMC means a ton of pressure on Brock Purdy, which if you trust him, then trust him, man. I don't trust him against that Jets defense. But that's what I'll get out in front here and say is no CMC, no W for the 49ers, even at home tomorrow against the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be horny to get on that field, boy.
I agree, dude. And I think all Jets fans are ready for it. I had them going to the Super Bowl this year against our Eagles. Picked it last year. Obviously, the Rodgers injury and the Eagles collapse derailed that pick. So here we go, running it back this year. CMC or not, I love the Jets. +4 tomorrow, maybe +4.5. But I'm taking the Jets outright in this one to go win, dude. It's one of those matchups for me when it comes to Brock Purdy and this Niners team. We know what their defense is, but we know the Jets defense is. This is one of those teams that can be better on that side of the ball than the Niners are. Aaron Rodgers, pretty familiar with the 49ers as well. I'm excited for this one, man. I think it's going to be a great game. But I do like the Jets regardless of CMC or not tomorrow. I think they come out and set a tone and just make this weekend or the end of this week so much better for us Eagles fans. You get a win on Friday night. The Cowboys lose today. The Niners lose tomorrow. What a weekend. What a week one it would be in the NFL for us, man. But that's going to be a great game tomorrow night, Scotty. Before we wrap up this show, there's all of our predictions. Let's get to some of our bets today, man. And we've kind of hinted at them throughout the show in terms of our picks. I'm going to put out all of our picks on the DSM Twitter channel. So if you're watching here right now, around 12:30, these picks will get out for you guys. But I am going to be taking the Dolphins and the Texans today, whether you want to parlay them like Scotty did. You had the funds to lay money line and hammer it a little bit more like I'm going to. or you just want to take their spreads. I would probably alt the Texans down to 2 or 2.5, just so you don't get killed by the field goal at the end, possibly.
Yeah.
The Dolphins. I mean, I meant the Texans there if I said the Dolphins, excuse me. But the Dolphins, I am going to lay the 3 or 3.5 most likely as well. I do think they just put up too many points for Trevor Lawrence and them to battle with. Am I making it a play, Scotty? Oh, well, the Browns are another one at 425. That's going to be one of my official money line picks. Am I making the Cardinals +7 an official play is my question. I'm going to need the next 23 minutes to think about that before I post a pick.
I would say that I would go with the over. That's actually one of my favorite plays of the day.
Okay.
It's the 46.5.
Hey man, we'll ride that together.
You could alt it. You could alt it. You could alt it.
I'll remove the hook for
44.5.
sure.
Something like that.
I'm going to remove the hook for sure.
Because 46.5 is -110. So that's like obviously great.
And and that's another over that gets to my attention. The Titans Bears over I'm probably taking as well. It's at 43 at -115 right now. I do love that.
Moved down a little bit.
Yeah. And the Cardinals, there's no hook right now. It's over under 46. The over is -108. I'm going to put that in as well. So today I have 5 official plays for you guys. Scotty, you're in them and I'll get your own as well. I had the Dolphins money line and/or spread, Texans money line and/or spread, Browns money line and/or spread, Cardinals Bills over 46, and Bears Titans over 43. Those are my official plays of the slate today.
I like it. I actually love it. I have a few of the similar plays today, but the locks that I'm gonna roll with, I am gonna roll with the over 46. I actually love that the lines move that way in that game. So I am gonna go with that without the hook. I did have the 46.5 written down here, but I'll roll with 46 for sure. My other lock that I love today is Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown. I laid that by itself. Just love the idea of him being the focal point of the offense. You get Kirk Cousins back off of the injury, right? He's going to help the offense just by being there and being a better quarterback. But I don't think you just let Kirk Cousins loose today. I think you need to focus the offense around Bijan. You can hit him with screens. You can look at it this way. The way Saquon was used the other night, right? I think you could see Bijan do some very similar things, maybe not 3 touchdowns, but I think he's going to be heavily involved in the Atlanta offense. And I think it's going to be that way all season, but I especially love him to score today at home, first game of the year, really, implement himself and show his impact early on here. So Buffalo, Arizona over 46, Bijan anytime touchdown. I also love the Kyren Williams touchdown tonight in the Rams-Lions game. The reason I love that is because everything else I feel like is going to be pretty hard to pick touchdown-wise in that game because there's so many options. When you look at the Lions, I feel like it could be Montgomery. I feel like it could be Gibbs. I mean, either one of those guys could get the touches in the red zone and at the goal line. You look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, then you look at Laporta. Any one of those guys could get touches in the end zone. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, right? Kyren Williams is that sole running back in the backfield for the LA Rams. He's a guy that had I want to say I don't want to give out the incorrect stat here. I just want to confirm. Because in my head, I have him with 20 rushing touchdowns last year. How many did he have? 12, excuse me. I was way off. 12 rushing touchdowns last year, the focal point for that Rams rushing attack. I do think there's going to be a ton of points scored tonight. So if one rushing touchdown is all the Rams get, we at least know it's going to be in Kyren Williams' hands. So I like him for the anytime touchdown. That's -120. The Bijan anytime touchdown was -110, by the way.
Okay.
The last time I looked, at least. And then the final play for me today is going to be the Houston Texans -3. Now, I did pair the Houston Texans money line with the Miami Dolphins money line as well, just to get some better odds there. But I did do Houston -3 by itself solely. So I am rolling with them down there in Indy.
Like it,
but I think the last thing we have, man, is our touchdown parlay. I'm interested to see how close ours are because it sounds like we have some similar players.
Going through some of yours, yeah, we have some similarities here, man. Okay, so starting me off today in one of the overs we're taking, I have James Conner in my parlay to score an anytime touchdown. That's plus 200 right now, which honestly
Oh,
I like
that's
that. I love
crazy.
that as a straight bet as well.
Yeah.
My next guy, I mean, he was in cuffs an hour ago. You know he's gonna find the end zone, and there's gonna be a funny celebration and a viral tweet, a viral clip going around social media today. Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown minus 135. I do have Joe Mixon as well in our Texans game to score in his Texan debut at minus 105. Well, here's the weird thing. It's plus 105, but when I click it to add it to my parlay, it makes it minus 105. No idea
Interesting.
what DraftKings is doing to me, but that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. And the 4 o'clock slot, I do have Jerome Ford anytime touchdown to score against the
Interesting.
Cowboys at plus 135. And
I
to
like
cap
that.
us off in Sunday Night Football, someone you just talked about, Kyron Williams to find the end zone minus 110. This 5-pick parlay is plus 44.74, a $25 bet. Pays out over $1,140. So, um,
Hell yeah.
so something to keep an eye on. And if you are on DraftKings, there is a no sweat token for a touchdown
Yep.
scorer today. And you can use that on your parlay. You don't have to use it on one individual. You can use it on the parlay as well. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
My plan today is to lay both of ours and just hope that both or at least
Yeah.
one hits.
Yeah.
So that's what my plan is for everybody out there. So mine that I have here, I have a few that are the same, but there are a couple different ones in here. So the same ones that I have with you are James Conner touchdown. It was plus 175 when I had it, but moved to plus 200 as you said. Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown in Miami. That's another same one that I had. Josh Allen in that Buffalo
Okay.
game as well, along with James Conner. I do love him to score. Once again, Josh Allen's going to have to do some great things for this offense to be successful in Buffalo, which I think last year, 15 rushing touchdowns on top of his 29 passing. So he gets in the end zone a lot on the ground. And when you get into the red zone, he's more of a threat, I think, than even James Cook in a sense, just because of his size. He's bigger than James Cook in a sense. So I do like Josh Allen to score today. I think there will be a bunch of points scored in that game. I do like Jonathan Taylor to score in that Houston Indy game. The reason Taylor out of that game, I just feel like he's the most likely in the game as a whole, just because of the way the Colts offenses ran. The Texans, it's a little bit more variability in my eyes, but I do think out of all of their players, Joe Mixon would be the guy I go with there. But I ended up going the opposite route and went with Jonathan Taylor to score. I think Anthony Richardson will help him a lot. But the last guy on there is Bijan, the guy I laid by himself. I think Bijan is probably my number one lock today from the betting perspective. That's why I laid it by itself and part of my parlay here. So with all of that, all 5 legs, that comes out to plus 31.51. If you just take the Connor leg off, you say you don't want to do 2 touchdown scores in the same game, it goes down to plus 11.49 without
Oh
James Conner.
no.
I know, drops significant. He carries the most odds out of all of those
Yeah,
guys.
I'm being serious. I might add that to the official card as with the no sweat token. James
Yeah,
Conner anytime touchdown, man. That feels right. Like we have the over in the game. We're gonna need the Cardinals to
yeah,
score. We think they keep it somewhat close. You're telling me they don't get inside the
yeah,
10 or 5 and give the ball to James Conner a couple
yeah.
times. It just
I, I
feels too
I
good.
actually laid. Now that you said, I've laid so many things, man. I'm really going like above my
I know.
budget for
I'm
this day.
going, brother.
Like,
I'm going so far against what I like to do. Normally, like, because I'm not the person that likes to give out a long platter and you know 6 plays, and I need to go 4-2 just to really
right.
make money, right? I don't like
It
it,
is week
but
one,
it's week 1, and there's a lot that I like. And if they were by
and there
themselves,
are
like,
scripts.
yeah, and if they were like time wise, like if they were by themselves, I would lay each of these. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
normally I like to
yeah,
like pick my favorite bet of the 1 o'clock games and hammer that and not worry about anything else. But again, like if the Texans were playing on Sunday night and the Dolphins were playing now, I'd be laying both anyway. So why not
yeah,
just lay them both? So
yeah. No,
yeah,
I
man.
definitely feel
I
you.
am
I laid
I'm
Connor
excited to get these plays
by
out there,
itself.
man.
Laid Connor by itself. I laid the Bears by themselves. Texas minus 2.5 by itself. And then Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown by itself. So those are my single plays. But I am going to tail you on the Browns. I'm just going to wait and see how these early games.
Yeah, me too. I'm not going to put the Browns in yet and hope that I can cash a little earlier. But guys,
yeah, likewise.
Let's go. Grab a drink, maybe grab some
catch
some
my breath.
food, order some food, catch a breath, relax, kick the recliner up, and not move my ass for probably 12 hours. So that sounds like the rest of my day, Scotty. I need one of those. I need a dog that has like that. Then I can put a rope around the refrigerator door, and he knows how to just go get a beer and just bring it back to me. Unfortunately, don't have a dog, don't have a rope. Would have to work hard for that one. So we'll figure out the plan today. Maybe I'll just prop the cooler right down next to me, and
put all the beer from the miniature fridge or whatever your beer fridge.
I mean, I don't even have any ice here, but it is cold enough in this house where I could just leave the cooler lid open.
Yeah, if they're already cold, you'll be good.
With that said, guys, if you are watching on Twitter, if you're new to the channel, if you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, make sure to do us a favor. Do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the Turf Talk YouTube channel. It's the only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here with us and be interactive with us throughout all of our live streams. We'll be back with you guys this Thursday night, recapping all of the action in week 1, talking about the Thursday night matchup and updating our top 10 power rankings and reviewing our bets as well. So stay tapped into the Twitter channel as well. I'm going to get all of our official plays out in the next 10 to 15 minutes. If you tail us, like the tweet, share the tweet, comment, let us know what you're riding with, and let's hope we can make you guys some money today. But let's go enjoy week 1, fellas and ladies. Have a good one.
Enjoy it.